I was doing loads of different stuff. I was doing a network marketing gig. I was writing blogs. I was writing social media posts. I was selling insurance, and I was making a little bit on all of these. But as a result, I wasn't crushing it in any of them. If I could change anything, it would have been adopting that strategy from the beginning.
Today, we're talking with my good friend, Mike Davison from Phuket, Thailand. Yes, you heard that correct, Thailand. So this is a great example of how passive prospecting works worldwide. And he's going to share a story about how he was trying to be the jack of all trades on his YouTube channel and generated zero business for the first couple of years. But then he came across what we were doing and he reached out, actually wanted to schedule a Zoom call with me. And I jumped on and said, sure. We had a conversation for a while, great conversation. And then he made some adjustments on his channel. And within 3 months started to generate significant business from his channel. And he even got somebody to reach out for a $5 million property from his channel. Now they ended up buying, I think around 4 million, he said, but still a pretty big deal. 2024, we had a conversation, he said, at the end of 2023. I didn't recall the exact timeline, but that sounded about right. And so he implemented the strategy in early 2024. And he said this last year has been his biggest year ever. He is a Thailand millionaire now based in real estate commissions. So we're going to dive into all of that. And if you've ever thought about living abroad, I mean, this could be a good conversation for you as well. I know it's something that I think about with all the property that I own in Belize. And so it's something that I'm enjoying. Looking forward to this conversation as well. So let's talk with my good friend, Mike. And welcome, Mike Davison, from all the way coming to us from Thailand, of all places. So this is very unique. I'm excited to have this conversation with you because we're going to be discussing not just real estate in another country all the way across the world, but actually YouTube for real estate in another country, which is a question that comes up quite often, mainly from Canadians. So Canadians are like, well, does this work in Canada? Well, yeah, we've got a lot of examples of, YouTube for real estate, passive prospecting working in Canada, South Africa. Actually, we haven't had them on the channel, but also a couple of people in the UK. So we've seen it in several different countries, but now Thailand, of all places, which is really cool. I'm fascinated to learn more about this and discuss this with you, Mike. And thank you for coming on. And how you doing today?
I'm pretty good. Thank you for having me, Levi. So, I'm all the way over here in Phuket in Thailand, which for those of you guys who are listening who don't know the geography of Thailand too well, Thailand, it's a pretty big country, but Phuket is in the south of Thailand. So it's actually the biggest island in Thailand. So I moved over here in 2011. Initially, the plan was to stay here for 12 months to do an English teaching job, and 12 months turned into 14 years. I fell in love with the place when I first moved here. I did the teaching thing for a few years. My background's music, actually. I was a music teacher in an international school for about 4 or 5 years. And then a lot of my buddies from the UK, they were doing property back in 2017, 2018, around about the same time as I was getting itchy feet, being a teacher, So one of my good buddies who had a property company here, he offered me a job. I got started in the property industry beginning of 2018. So it was a very, very different market here then. But that's how I arrived here in Phuket.
Okay. All right. Well, a lot to unpack here. So I think we'll pull up the map here in just a little bit, because I do want to kind of navigate around that, because I'm just curious myself. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, you might want to go and reference the YouTube channel if you want to see the maps and everything as we discuss the geography. But let's go back to the journey of getting into real estate. So teacher, or actually just falling in love with Thailand. Let's start there, because I've got aspirations to live in Belize, and so that's my Thailand. I've got property there. I'm actually working on my third piece of property there that's under contract. Hope to be closing within the next 30 days. And, I've just got a whole vision and a dream for that aspect of it. And it's just something I think about more and more every day, especially if I'm driving around Dallas stuck in traffic or something. I'm kind of like, all right, what am I doing here? So you go there just really for 12 months to be a teacher, but then you fall in love with the place. And like, what's that decision process? What makes you go, you know what? Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to stay. So how did that happen?
I mean, I guess I figured out what my options were, and back, 13, 14 years ago, the UK is kind of similar to it is now. There's not a great deal of opportunity for young people there, so when I was 27, 28, was when I made the decision to stay in Thailand. And I looked at my options. When I was in the UK, I was a live music promoter, actually, so that was a great lifestyle, but it was long weekends, late nights. It wasn't really sustainable. It's not what I wanted to do. I'd always wanted to travel, but when I first came to Thailand, I'd never left Europe. I'd been to Spain. That was about as exotic as it got for me. So being in Thailand, everything was new. It was like being a kid again. New food, new language. It was just an incredible feeling for that first year. It was like being on holiday for a year, and then I kind of realized I was looking at people, in their late 30s, their 40s, and people were building careers here. Not everybody was staying working as an English teacher forever. So I saw that there was career progression there. I also saw that Phuket, the place where I was living, was a place that was attracting a lot of tourists. Now, the market's changed over the last 10 years, but Phuket is the busiest tourist hotspot in Thailand. Here, we get 14 million visitors every single year to Phuket. So I saw a lot of opportunity there. A lot of my friends from the UK, they were running their own businesses. They were doing pretty well for themselves. So I fell in love with the country, the culture, the people. But I also saw that there was a lot of opportunity here for foreigners who were entrepreneurially minded. In the UK, if you have an idea or, if you're entrepreneurially minded, quite often it's like crabs in a bucket syndrome. They'll just try and pull you back down and, oh, you don't want to do that. And everybody thinks everything's a scam. When I told my friends I was moving to Thailand, 99% of them thought I was crazy. But it turned out that I made the right decision. So yeah, it's a great place to live. It's a great place to do business as well.
Yeah, I would have been the friend that said, "Hey, when can I visit?" That's
well, you're welcome anytime, Levi. You're welcome anytime.
Well, thank you, and I love that because that's a part of the world that I haven't made it over to yet. So I definitely need to add it onto the list because I love it whenever you got some good friends in low places, right? So
absolutely.
So that's pretty cool. All right, so you move into real estate, and so you got friends that are doing real estate in the UK. Is that really what kind of motivated you, or did you meet somebody in Thailand? Did you meet a monk on the street that was like, let me teach you in the ways of real estate here in Thailand?
If only that was how it went. That would have been a little bit more biblical than the way that it went. But a few of my friends who were originally from the UK, who were living here in Phuket, had their own real estate business. Okay. So I hung out with them and they said, okay, if you want a job, it's you can take one from us. So I started in the real estate market in 2018. And back then the market was very, very different. Okay. So I wasn't doing YouTube. I didn't even think about YouTube leads back then. We used to generate our leads from the shopping mall, believe it or not. So inside the shopping mall, inside the busy tourist area of Phuket, it was called Patong. There was a shopping mall called Junt Silon Shopping Mall. So we had a booth, purchased property here. And back then you could get a nice sea view condo, 45, 50 square meters, like an investment style unit for $100,000 US. So for a lot of people that they're seeing that price, they're seeing what they can get. It was a pretty attractive offer,
You said 50 square meters?
Yeah, 45, 50 square meter unit. It's like a hotel style investment unit.
So that's
Yeah.
like a square feet in the US. That'd be like what, about 400 to 500 square feet?
Square feet. Can we get a square feet converter on here?
Yeah.
That's not my strong point,
I
I'll be
think it's
honest.
let's see, square meters.
I've got a feeling it's times 3.
Is
But
it
do tell me.
you said let's just do 50. Yeah, 538. 500.
Okay.
So I thought it's almost about a 10x, on there. So okay. All right. My international conversion is pretty good. All right. So
Congrats.
okay. All right. So go ahead. So 100,000
yeah, I mean,
for that.
Back in the day, $100,000 for something like that, it was, it was not throwaway change, but it was affordable for a lot of people. So we were doing a lot of those sort of deals back in the day. And, they offered management. So when the clients weren't there, they could rent them out, they could get some return, the unit would pay for itself. So we had a couple of very, very good years selling those sort of projects, 2018, 2019. Then we all know what happened in 2020. Now, Thailand got pretty badly hit. Okay. Obviously, one of the main income streams in Thailand, the main income stream is tourism. Okay. Here in Phuket, like I said, 14 million visitors a year. The borders close, tourism stops, the lead flow stops. So for the real estate scene, particularly us who were selling the off-plan condominiums, the new stuff, we just didn't have any leads. So during that time, I decided to diversify a bit. I launched a couple of online businesses. I was doing a bit of this, a bit of that, to be quite honest with you. Between sort of 2020 and 2023, when the market really started to take off again, the market here wasn't easy. A lot of real estate agents had to leave to go back to the home countries. I spent time living in Cambodia, in Vietnam, doing the digital nomad thing. I had a pretty successful online business that I'd launched in 2018, which sort of carried me through that time, and it was also during that time that I actually started my YouTube channel, which we'll sort of come back on in a little bit. But yeah, the COVID time wasn't easy. And then in 2023, 2024, I got back into the property full time. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So walk us through that. Now you get back into property full time. Do you go back into the shopping malls, or is that you just go back to the traditional methods, or do you try to, you go to reactivate the channel?
Sure. So when I first launched the channel in the tail end of 2021, I did a YouTube course actually. And at the time I was kind of trying to promote my affiliate marketing business on YouTube. So I was doing various videos, I was also making videos about how to get into Thailand at the time. Because back at the time you had to have PCR tests and insurance and all that nonsense, so those videos were really, really ranking. Actually, they were doing very, very well, but I wasn't really focused on the property. So I had a couple of videos on there, but it wasn't a property focused channel. So I wasn't bringing in really good quality property leads, if that makes sense. And that what was really the turning point for me. In February 2023, I still remember it, February 2023, no, I tell a lie, actually, February 2024, it all mixes in. Our first high ticket lead came through the channel. Okay, so a gentleman living over in Spain, we got on a call with him. He told us that he was ready to spend 5 million USD over here in Phuket. And I was just like, wow, I've attracted a lead like that through the channel. I was, almost pinching myself in disbelief there, because it was almost, I didn't believe in myself almost. Who's going to want to contact me for a $5 million property? Kind of what my mindset was back then. A lot of the videos that I had on the channel back then were almost for the low-hanging fruit, $200,000 condos. I even had a few for $80,000 condos. And as a result, those sort of leads were coming through. But back in, like I say, February, March 2024, this gentleman came through the channel, and we ended up closing him on a $4 million villa here in Phuket.
Is that,
yeah, right.
That must have been a massive compound.
It was nice. It was nice. Yeah. I mean, the villa itself sits on about 2,500 square meters of land. Times that by 10 for you guys. So it's a big plot, you know. So I mean, you can imagine what you can get in Thailand for, you know, that sort of money. So once that had happened, it kind of made me think, okay, I need to double down on this, you know. So I actually completely changed my strategy on YouTube based on that event. So my YouTube channel was called Mike Davison, and then it had digital marketer and real estate agent. So it was send and mix signals. Now, I remember we spoke on a call, actually, and you advised me, Mike, if you're going to do one thing, do it. If you're going to do the other thing, do it. Choose your lane, I think is what you said. So I decided to choose my lane. And I, you know, after the events of what happened with this client, we went all in. I changed the name of the channel to Living in Phuket, Thailand. And we started featuring properties to the value of $1 million plus. Okay. Wow. So that really started in March 2024. Once, you know, this high ticket client has come through. And since then, it was a slow start, actually. I, you know, dipped in views to begin with. I was making very general videos about living in Phuket, digital nomad. They were getting big views, but they weren't making the phone ring, you know. So initially, during the first 3 to 4 months, the views did dip for sure. But then after 3 or 4 months, WhatsApp's going, we're getting inquiries through the website. And they're not people inquiring for, you know, $55,000, $80,000 condos. They're people with decent budget, high net worth individuals, and people who are really wanting to discover Phuket. Okay. They don't come to you often. Okay, I want to buy this house. They want to know about schools for their kids. They want to know about different areas. They want to know about what visa they're going to need to stay here. They want to know about whether they're going to have to pay tax on the money that comes in. You know, so all of these things, all of the education process is maybe a little bit more in depth than it would be if I was doing this in the UK for a UK audience, you know, because it's kind of new territory for most people who come to me, you know. So I'll typically get on a call when a serious prospect comes in. I'll give them an hour of my time. You know, I'll talk to them about best areas to live, school, visas. I'll recommend a very good visa expert and a lawyer for them. And usually by the end of that call, they've decided to work with me, and they arrive in Thailand, they arrive in Phuket, and then the viewing process starts. So, I mean, the YouTube channel, since I rebranded it and changed the type of videos we were putting out, it's completely and utterly changed the game. You know, we're not getting those low ticket leads coming anymore, which are always the most demanding. You know, people who want to spend that small amount of money, they always want to see all the properties and have the most, you know, long list of requirements. But yeah, the high ticket leads, they're comfortable with investing abroad, and they're generally just much easier to work with in my experience.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Well, congratulations, first of all. I love to hear that success. And so I'm looking at exchange rates, and it says it's $1 to 32. What's the currency there? It's a TH.
Thai baht.
Okay. So $1 to 32 Thai bahts is that, you know, if I can buy, let's say a Coke here in the US for $1, is it take 32 Thai bahts to buy a Coke in Thailand?
A Coke down at my 7-Eleven is actually 17 baht. So I know because
US dollars,
17 Thai baht. So that's right, 50 cents.
Maybe not a brand name Coke. Let's just say a soda. Maybe you're going to buy a Thai soda. Would it be, you know, if I buy a soda here in Texas and it's $1, you know, and if you go to the store down the street and you buy a Thai soda or something, is it 32 Thai bahts around there?
No, I mean, a soda here in the shop would cost you 50 cents. You know, I mean, 17 baht. In general, the cost of living here is significantly cheaper than it would be in your home country, certainly than the UK. Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. That's what I was just trying to make a direct comparison to, because especially in heavy tourist spots, then there's, they can still, sometimes they jack up the prices, just because of the heavy tourism. So just trying to get,
it is true to say that Phuket is one of the most expensive places in Thailand. It's the biggest island. It's the biggest tourist hotspot. So you're going to pay more than you would in a small province, But generally speaking, it is still very, very good value for money here. When it comes to renting property, when it comes to your day-to-day costs, your utilities, your gasoline, your shopping, things such as that. And, we also have very, very good hospitals, international quality hospitals. International medical tourism is a very, very big one here as well. We've got top international schools, the top international school on the island. To send a child there costs $30,000 a year, so it is premium education. And the sort of people who are living here and who are moving here from abroad, we're getting a lot of clients from Dubai, people coming over from Singapore, expat families who've been based elsewhere in the world. They've had a holiday here. They've seen that the price is, a fraction of what they're paying where they are now. I mean, you spend $2 million in Singapore, you've got a condo, you've got a nice condo, but you spend $2 million here, you've got a big five bedroom villa, walking distance to the beach, you're going to have a nice property.
Yeah. So how much, what's real estate commissions like in Thailand? Is it a percentage? Is it just a fixed dollar amount? How does that work? Let's say on a $1 million property.
Sure. So it really depends whether it's a developer property or whether it's a resale property. So here in Phuket, there are a lot of new developments, villa developments and condo developments. Now, typically the developers with the strong reputation will pay a little bit lower commission. Actually, the newer developers tend to pay the higher commission. So there are some developers on the condominium units that pay 10% on their units, which is it's a nice fee. You sell a condominium for 300,000 USD, you're walking away with $30,000, which is, it's a nice payday. The villas typically pay 5% for the developer ones, but a lot of the developers have a sliding scale depending on how many you close. So your first deal will be 5, your second will be 6, your third will be 7, for example. Now, your resale market, it really is dependent on the owner, but typically a resale villa will be between 3% to 5%. So, if you're looking for a market average, 5% would be a market average,
And that's on the buy side?
No, the seller pays all the commission here. The seller pays all the commission. So with the developer, it's included in the price, and actually with the resales, it's included in the price as well. Yeah. So the buyers don't pay anything.
So do you list properties there, or do you only work on the buyer side?
I'm a buyer's agent. However, I do have several listings, but it's not like in the US where you have an exclusive seller's agent. Okay. Gotcha. So it's a little bit different here. There are a few big property agencies here in Thailand, property portholes, if you will. Okay. So if an owner's got a villa to sell, typically they'll go to all the 3 or 4 big property portholes. They might even put it on Facebook Marketplace themselves. Agents will approach them. Hey, can I sell your property? That's generally how it goes. Now, with the higher value stuff, which we prefer to deal with, your $3 million plus type stuff, typically owners there will go with an exclusive agent. So there's a handful of luxury property agents here in Phuket who deal with those properties. We've got 2 or 3 on our books, but we work very closely. There's another British guy, there's a German guy who have between them maybe 60 or 70 luxury properties, So if they're getting, let's say, 5% on that sale, they'll offer the agents 3 and they'll take the 2. So, on those higher value properties, everybody wins, and it obviously spreads out. You can get it to more clients that way.
So if they don't do exclusive listing, it's pretty much, you could go to them and say, hey, I can put your property on my website or something, and basically you're trying to attract a buyer regardless. You don't, unless you sign an exclusive right to sell, but that's just less likely, right? As a individual agent, so to speak. And
Correct.
you're running solo. You're not with a big firm or brokerage there.
So I actually partner with a brokerage called Lascsak. I don't know if I can say that, can I?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
Okay, so I don't know whether I could talk about brands and things like that. So yeah, I mean, I partner with a company called Lascsak, who are a big property company. We've got offices in Bangkok, Koh Samui, Chiang Mai, Pattaya. So they support my website. So I've got my own Phuket website, livinginphuketproperty.com. They make that for me. They also do all the work. They sort me out with a work permit, a visa. They do all my taxes and things such as that. And they also do the hard work of getting all the listings in. So if you look on the Lascsak website, there's tens of thousands of listings all around Thailand. So as an agent for Lascsak, I can click into the back office, I can scroll down, and I can get the agent, the contact details of the owner for all of those properties in Pattaya, in Bangkok, in Phuket. And I can also, I mean, they're pretty awesome, this company, very, very good people who run it. They let me obviously build my own YouTube channel and my own brand, the Living in Phuket brand, to partner with them. So, when a Lascsak lead comes through, because they send us 5 or 6 good quality leads a week, actually. They're mining leads pretty well. So when a Lascsak lead comes to me, I'll speak to them, I'll chat to them, they'll inquire about a property. A lot of the times I've made a video on that property. So I'll send them over a link to my YouTube channel, which 99% of agents in Phuket, they can't do that. So even if they're not coming through the YouTube channel straight away, I'm sending them my videos. They can see I've got 15K subscribers on there. I've been on there for a couple of years. A big thing for people buying in Thailand, obviously it's big everywhere, but it's trust, you know. People need to know that once you've sold them a villa, you're not going to be jumping back out onto the plane into your home country. So showing people that, you've planted your flag in this place, the ownership laws inside, outside, lawyers, about schools. That YouTube channel really it's an essential bit of real estate, I would say. Yeah, that's amazing. And so when did we have our phone call? Was that was in early 2024? Tail end of 2023, I'm going to say, yeah, just before I made that change. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. And then are you comfortable disclosing how 2024 sales went for you? Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, I started really in March 2024, that's when the channel rebranded. And actually 2024, March to March 2025 was actually my first 6-figure year. So I brought in $150,000 US in commission, which is absolutely incredible. You're living like a king there. You're basically a Thailand millionaire, right? For sure. I mean, you can live very, very well here on that sort of money. But I'm playing it smart. I'm investing the money. I'm not changing my lifestyle. I'm living in the same house, driving the same car. So I'm playing it smart because the market here is very seasonal as well. Yeah. We have high season, which is November, December, January, February, March. Right now, we're in low season. So I was out with a client today. I'll be out with one tomorrow, but I might not have somebody in the car for another week. you know?
And I assume, so not only are these YouTube clients, which are the best clients ever, right? But on top of that, you're looking at probably English speaking, investor minded, looking to either buy a second home, short-term rental options. I mean, they're savvy, right? I would assume. Is that correct?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, if we had to split our clients into two demographics, you've got your pure investors who are coming over here to buy a condo or a villa to rent it out. So they'll purchase the villa. Then we also have a property management company, so we can deal with all of the management side of things for them as well. So that's one side of the clients. I would say that would make up probably at the moment 60% of our buyers. And then the other 40% is expat families who are moving typically from another country. So these people, they're used to, let's say, we've got a UK family we're working with at the moment who are based in Spain for 2 years. They're used to living in another country. They're used to, you know, doing the tax in another country. They're used to life in another country. So when they're coming over here, they've done it before, they've spent money in other countries, and they've been through that process. So really, they're looking to somebody to hold their hand, to show them around, to show them what the good schools are, and to show them how we do things here in Thailand, you know? So, I mean, the clients that are coming through YouTube, they've done their research, you know? They come through and say, okay, I've seen this project, that project, I like this area, tell me more about this. Yeah. You know, and they've really got intent, which is super important. You know, the agency leads are good, but quite often they'll come through and they don't know what they want. You know, they don't know. They think they can buy a beachfront villa for, you know, £500,000 or whatever, or $500,000. It's not going to happen. The education phase with the non-YouTube leads is so much longer because we're not building that relationship and educating them, you know, when we're sleeping.
Yeah, that's amazing. So yeah, and I just let me pull up real quick. Let me pull this up. So I just Googled living in Phuket property.
That's me at the top. Yeah.
Oh, this is you right here.
That's the Facebook. Yeah,
it's pulling your Facebook, but it also pulls your YouTube channel.
Oh, fantastic. That's good to know.
Yeah. So on page 1 of Google, I mean, you don't even have to barely scroll, and you're owning some pretty solid real estate. Is this your website here?
That is not my website. No, but it probably should be, shouldn't
it? Should be. Yeah, exactly. So, but I think this is your Google business profile, right?
It is correct. Yeah.
Okay. So look at this. I mean, just for those out there, you've got #1 spot on Google. You've got the first YouTube video popping up, which a lot of people are probably going to be drawn to this first and foremost, which is great. But then look at all this real estate you own on this side as well on, you know, for the Google business profile. So what I would, if you're open to advice again, I would really work on, do you ever, it's not showing reviews on here. Let's see.
Well, that would be something I need to work on, I think, right?
So if you want to solidify this, you know, not lose that possibility, I'd start working on every one of your clients that you close. Definitely get them to leave a review, mention the YouTube channel, you know, that they found you on YouTube, and start collecting these reviews. Make it part of your closing process. And then also you can even post, you know, if you add some photos on here, if you have clients, if they send you a photo, or they could post, or you could take photos as far as some properties, just little updates, almost treating it a little bit like a little social media page. And that's just going to add to your ranking opportunities here. Sure. in you know, when people are searching this. So that's pretty cool. And then they even have your, this is you again, right?
That's my pros and cons. Yeah.
So
good advice, Levi. I'll definitely be working. Hey, it's where I'm sitting now. Same poster in the background, right?
There you go, Thailand. I love that. And yeah, 14,700 subscribers. This video has 5.7 thousand views on it. I love it. Videos. Let's look at popular. Yep. So You got some good ones on here.
Sure.
I like it. So let me see. Okay.
So we recently started working with a new videographer team, actually, maybe 2 months ago, which has really started to streamline the process. So we're working with a great guy from the Philippines, super talented. He's been doing the property videos in Phuket for a while. So now it's a case of showing up, shooting for 2 to 3 hours, and him sending us the file a few days later. So we've got it down now. Yeah.
Very cool. All right, well, let's take a look at this real quick. I'm definitely curious about the geography. We got Thailand, which is south of China, south of Myanmar or Burma and Laos. And oh, by the way, real quick, how's your Thai?
My koi di tarai kap. I can get away with it, actually. I can order food. I can speak to a taxi driver. I can speak enough Thai to fool Thai people that I can actually speak it. But when they speak back to me, it's over the top of my head. Put it that way. Yeah. I mean, I did do Thai lessons for a while, but I should be a lot better than I am considering how long I've been here. Put it that way.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go back to the map here, and you can kind of walk me through. We got Thailand right here. But you said you're in South Thailand, right? So
exactly. So if you want to drift south, you can see it there on the left-hand side where the ocean is. There, exactly.
Kind of like
that's
a little
peninsula right there. So it's separated from the mainland by a bridge called the Saracen Bridge, and it takes you 2 minutes to drive over the bridge. Right. So it's practically on the mainland, you know. A lot of the development in Phuket now is in the northwest in an area called Bang Tao, which you were just hovering over there, a little bit down there, around that area, Bang Tao. So this is being branded as the Miami of Southeast Asia. Okay. There are a lot of branded residences being built around this area now. There's one called the Standard Residence, which is a big global chain. There's one over in LA, there's one over in Australia, there's one in Bangkok. So the Bang Tao area, there's also an area called Laguna in there, which has got golf clubs, hotels, spas. That gets nicknamed the Beverly Hills of Phuket because it's very, very high end. You know, if you want to get in the Laguna community, you're going to need at least 2 million USD for a villa inside there. As you drift south towards Katu, Rawai, the prices tend to get cheaper in the south of the island. Now, when I started selling real estate back in 2017, 2018, that's where a majority of the development was. It was in the south, Qatar, Caron. So now there's actually not a lot of free land down there. There's certainly not a lot of sea view free land. So as a result, stuff started to go up to the north. And, you know, the demographic of Phuket has really changed as well. Back in the day, 10 years ago, this was a place for backpackers. It was a tourist hotspot. We weren't getting those luxury high-end villa developments that we're seeing now because there wasn't really the demand for them. But now we're getting a lot of international families, high net worth individuals. The tax for Thailand is also pretty attractive. So that's bringing a lot of people here as well. And as a result, the demand for the high-end housing is increasing. And, you know, the market is exploding.
All right. So how long does it take you to drive around from north to south?
It depends on the traffic. I mean, if you're doing it on a Sunday, you can get from the north to the south in an hour and a half, let's say.
Really? Oh, wow. This looks so big, but that's funny.
I mean, it's to give you an idea, it's the same size as Singapore. It's about the same landmass as Singapore. Yeah,
well, that doesn't help me at all.
Well, Singapore is a country, right? So it's not a small place.
Gotcha. All right.
But I mean, Phuket, it's an island, but essentially it's like living in a big city with like 30 beaches. You know, you've got 4-lane highways, you've got malls, you've got hospitals, you've got supermarkets, you've got town centers.
How's beaches? Beaches are beautiful.
The little towns has their own feel. you know, so Patong is your busy tourist place. Qatar is a little bit quieter. Bang Tao's much more upmarket. So it's a big place, you know. I mean, if you want to come on vacation here, you're going to need at least 2 weeks, preferably a month, to get a feel of the full island, you know?
Yeah. Where do you live?
I live in Katu. You were just hanging over that. I'm just down the road from Katu Waterfall, actually. So I'm pretty much in the middle of the island. It's like a sort of a residential area.
Look, I can see your.
Oh, here we are. No way.
Just found your Google business profile.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
Is that your villa?
This is me, man. Yeah, this is me.
So this is your house?
That's not my house, unfortunately. No, that's one of the villas that we sold.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right. I was about to say,
just for reference, actually, that particular villa was 1.9 million US. It's 600 square meter sea view property, 600 meters from the beach. So that gives you an idea of, you know, the sort of price points here.
Oh wow, what is this?
That's a temple, right? That's the temple in Chiang Rai. That's not in Phuket.
Okay. Well, it showed up for some reason, but it looks amazing.
You need to get yourself here, Levi.
Yeah. Well, you're talking me into it. I don't know where I just went from there. So let's get out of there. All right. There we go. Okay, cool. Well, that's hour and a half to north and south, and so you live in there in the middle pretty much. You can work most of the areas. Where are you focusing most of your content? Are you trying to hit the new Miami? Is that the spot right now?
Yeah, I mean most of the good new projects are around the Bang Tao area, you know. So I mean, if we're making a video, we prefer to make it in a project that has several villas for sale, you know. So the inquiries come and there's plenty of supply to take people to. If there's a really special resale villa, a particularly high value one, for sure we'll go into that. In fact, what we're doing one on the 13th of this month, which is a $9 million one down in Qatar. In the south of the island. So, you know, ones like that, we absolutely make an exception for. But yeah, we focus most of our videos and most of our business actually is around the Bang Tao area. Yeah.
Okay. That's amazing. That's awesome. So let's talk about your YouTube journey. I mean, I guess you were making videos for quite some time anyways, right? So your oldest one was, 3 years ago. So you were working on a few videos. How was it? Do you recall like starting out? Is it just something you kind of just started making videos? Were you a little nervous getting on camera? Was it awkward? Do you remember some of those early beginnings?
I mean, I think anyone who tells you it wasn't awkward in the beginning is lying to you, right? I mean, of course I felt awkward back in the beginning. But you know, my YouTube journey, it's been a long one, and I think it could definitely have been speeded up if I'd really had the vision from the beginning. Okay. Now, like I said, during the COVID era, I was doing loads of different stuff. You know, I was doing a network marketing gig. I was writing blogs. I was writing social media posts. I was selling insurance, and I was making a little bit on all of these. But as a result, I wasn't crushing it in any of them. You know, and the YouTube channel was kind of a reflection of that. You know, I would make one video, you know, because I was traveling around. There's videos on there from back in the day, from Vietnam, from Cambodia, about how to make money online. Then out comes a property video, you know. So there was for people who were watching the channel, they didn't really know what to expect. It was all higgledy-piggledy, as we would say in English, right? So I think having that conversation with you, having the sort of what would you call it? That penny drop moment when that big client came through, that kind of made me realize that you have to choose your lane. So, I mean, if I could change anything, it would have been adopting that strategy from the beginning. You know, saying, okay, this is what I'm doing the YouTube channel for. This is the objective. This is the videos that I'm going to do. As soon as I adopted that strategy back in March this time last year, the leads just started coming in. So it's definitely been a steep learning curve. And I think for sure the gradient could have been reduced if I'd had more direction, and probably if I'd started working with you a little bit earlier, Levi, to be quite honest with you.
Well, it's all good. You're here now. You had your best year in 2024, and actually the part of that you're including Q1 of 2025. So when the rest of the world right now, at least in the U.S., is struggling, this is the common theme I've had. I've had a lot of conversations with people that have come through the program, and 2024 lowest transaction volume in 30 years in the U.S. So not since 1995 have we just seen the transactions just being absent. And of course, interest rates driving a lot of that. Election year last year, a lot of uncertainty, what was going to happen. But the people with the channels, the YouTube channels, were having their best years ever, crushing it. And so it's just really amazing to see how that has transpired. And also, I'm seeing right now their second year on the channel typically is just a massive compound. It's not like double or triple, it's quadruple, or it's 5 or 6 or 7x from the year before. So we're seeing a lot of massive gains. So I think 2025 could be even bigger for you. And the main thing, stay consistent. I think improve, even optimizing your Google business profile on there. I also think you could, I think there's room for you to improve on thumbnails as well. So,
Okay, yeah,
increase that a little bit there too. And other than that, I think you're going to have a very, very strong 2025. So I really, really appreciate you coming on and sharing everything about that. And like I said, this really, it just makes me think about Belize even more. Cause I know I've got other dreams down there, especially development myself, but I know that real estate is lucrative there as well. And I know a YouTube channel would crush. And it's like, okay, do I continue to sell homes in Dallas, or do I sell them on the beach, in the jungle, in the mountains, and then jump in some waterfalls in between, and go snorkeling and lobster diving and all kinds of, it's just something else. So I'm not there quite yet, but as soon as I acquire this third property, which is it's another beachfront property, it's going to really open up the door. So I've got one beachfront. There's a portion kind of like Phuket. There's a island on the north side of Belize. It's just it's off on its own. It's an island, and that's the main tourist spot. So I have a beachfront property there, but it's for a single family home, which would make good for a short-term rental, something like that. And whenever I'm not there. But yes, in the jungle, I've got 200 acres, and so that is, and it backs up right on the Mayan mountains. So amazing jungle and mountain views right in the center of the country. 30 minutes to the beach, 30 minutes to the Mayan ruins, 30 minutes to hang out with the Mayans in the mountains if you want to. The actual Mayan people, there's still generations of Mayans there, waterfall diving, cliff diving, all that stuff. And then this property is 1.5 acres beachfront, 30 minutes from the jungle property. So I've got plans there probably for maybe about 8 units that I could put on that. And that's a much easier project to start than the 200 acres. So it's really opening up the doors to start something sooner rather than later. And
so with the 200 acres, you'll have to clear all the land first, right? If it's
well, there 130 acres is orange and grapefruit trees. So it's and they're all in there. It was a farm before that for the 130 acres. So 130 acres of that is maintained mostly, and so it's been mowed, cleared, and you got just rows and rows and rows of orange and grapefruit trees. Now, I don't think, I don't plan to turn that into like a mass production farm. So that would be easier to clear some of that. I still want to leave clearly some acreage for a farm, because I also want to add coffee, because that's, it's in the coffee belt. I want to add, chocolate is also pretty big there. Mangoes, pineapples, of course. So, but I want that to be more like self-sustaining for an on-site restaurant. And so that'd be cool. But yeah, the other 70 acres or so, pretty thick jungle, but also you grow, it's local hardwoods, a lot of mahogany trees in there as well. So I think, I want to be able to source as much as we can from the property to turn that into building materials. But yeah, no, it would be a massive project. If I want to do it myself, it would be, of course, done in phases over a longer period of time. If I wanted to bring in investors, I'm sure I could get the people and the funding to just knock it all out in a, like a 2-year project or something. But I'm still undecided on that, whether I just want to go slow and steady. The cool thing was I was in Cabo a couple of months ago, and I visited a 25-acre eco resort, which pretty much was everything that I've envisioned for it. So the cool thing is it gave me the idea of like, maybe I just start with 25 acres,
and then expand from there.
Yeah.
Well, what you've just described is very, very similar to a project that we work here in Phuket with. Square meters, it's 1 million square meters. So I don't know how many acres that is, but it is huge. It's absolutely huge. Let's find it out in square feet. 1 million square meters is the size of the plot.
Okay. So square meters to square feet.
It's going to be a lot of zeros.
Yeah. 10 million square foot.
So it's a 10 million square foot plot with only 70 residential villas on there, starting from 2 million US. Okay. Now on there, they've got their own organic farm. They've got their own duck farm. They've got their own.
That's 229 acres. So.
Okay. All right. Pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close. So they've got, like I say, an organic farm on there. They've got ducks. They've got chickens. They've got every Saturday, they have a local roots market where local vendors come along and sell all of their organic produce.
I love that. Yeah.
On the site themselves, they've actually got a Michelin star restaurant, and all of the food that is produced is from the organic farm that they grow. Yeah. So I'll send you a link. I've actually got a tour of it on my video.
I love that. That's exactly what I want to do. And I love, because there's so much, and I want to be able to do things with the community there as well. Even thought about, building a church and maybe a school or something. Just depends on what could take place there. Cause I would like to provide housing for employees there, likely, cause it's still, tourism #1 there, but the country is still, I would say, mostly poor. Right. And so locals are always looking for opportunity. And so I think there's things that we can do there. Clearly. And like at the eco resort in Cabo too, they had a dog rescue on site, and I think about when you go to these countries, how many animals get neglected and thrown off to the side or mistreated. And they were telling me in Cabo that they have like walking hours. So guests can come to the dog pens and actually like pick out dogs and walk them between the hours of 8 to 3. And so that's how they end up getting a lot of dogs adopted, right? Because people go there on their stays and fall in love with a dog and they want to take it home. And
we have something very similar here, actually, a volunteer program for soy dogs or street dogs. Yeah. So sounds like a very similar environment, actually, Belize and Phuket.
Yeah. I'm sure. Very, very similar. So it's just really cool to hear your journey on that. And it's something I think about quite often. So we're getting closer and I really appreciate, send me the link on that. I'd love to check that out. And the funny thing was I spoke in Arizona last month and I came off a stage and I mentioned, about the just a little piece. I just mentioned a part of like, I acquired some property in Belize. It's part of my long-term dream and vision. And this lady came up to me after, speaking. She's like, I've got some of my best friends live in Belize. They have a 300-acre resort, actually it's down the street. So she got me in contact with them. And we're going to Belize in August. And so I've reached out to them. They said they're more than happy to meet. So they're going to let me come to their 300-acre eco resort and take a tour and show me around. And I just love that as well, because they have an amazing website. And so it's pretty cool just how all of it's really transpiring, taking place, especially within the last couple of months. It's just, really compounded. So maybe it's
these things don't happen by accident.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. But wow, any final words of wisdom you have for aspiring YouTubers out there as well?
I would say just get started and have a direction when you get started. Don't go out there thinking, okay, I'll make a video about this, and then, think about your next video 2 days later. You need to have a plan in place, which is something that I didn't have in the beginning. I was sort of clutching at straws, as you would say. I was making a video about this. I was chasing this opportunity. I almost had shiny object syndrome, looking for the next best thing. But in reality, there's no better product to sell than real estate, because people are always going to need it. There's never going to be a shortage of houses, certainly not here in Phuket. And YouTube is the best way to bring in qualified clients, not people who are thinking about it, people who are searching for it on the computers. So I would say, if you are thinking about it, don't jump into it and start a video straight away. Come up with a plan. If you need help doing that, speak to Levi or a YouTube coach and go all in. You're going to feel like, you're going to feel a little bit awkward on camera, but to begin with, everybody feels awkward on camera. But once those commission checks coming in, I think I heard someone on your previous one of your previous shows say, I do feel a little bit awkward, but for $400,000 a year, I can take that.
Yeah. Right. Yep. I've said that as well too. Sometimes I'm out there and I'm like, yeah, well, they don't know how much money I'm making. So
exactly.
Cool. All right.
Well, thanks for having me, Levi. I appreciate it, man. Really good to chat.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mike. And I'm looking forward to hearing how 2025 plays out for you. So, and then I also look forward to visiting you in Thailand.
I hope so. Cheers, man.
Talk soon.
Cheers.